to the Coach Kellie Speak Show. I have been gone for 2 weeks due to the holidays, and it's just been amazing. I had a wife night out, and it has just been amazing. I miss you guys so much, all of you out there. I miss you, my Facebook guests. I miss you. I post all day long, and but sometimes I'm not always live. And so it was my wedding anniversary, November the 13th, and that was a Monday. And so I just enjoyed my time with my husband, and you know, it just was amazing. It's just amazing to me. I've been married for 13 years, and it's been different things going on, different seasons, but it's always beautiful. There's always beautiful sunsets, even after the storms. The one thing I love so much about love, and even God, like, God is just a God who loves you unconditionally, and no matter what you do to him, he always comes back. He's always there, and he's always a God of a second chance. And so on today, I sent out a boot camp. I have a 7-day marriage boot camp, and I send it out every day. And there's 25 women that was at Coach Kellie's Wives Night Out, and I've been in contact with them ever since. And so on today, I talked to them about the spirit of compassion and having that attitude of compassion even in times of arguing or conflict. And one of the things that I said was Jesus performed his miracles every time when he was moved with compassion. He performed his miracles. So compassion is such an amazing gift that we have to offer to not only our husbands, but even to the world. And so one of the things, I list 7, but one of the ones that was so important to me is that when we communicate, we often do it fast and harsh. So one of the things that I ask the wives to do is to say it slow, turn your volume down, say it with passion and soft whispers. It goes a long way when you communicate with your husband effectively. And I said, one of the things that I said was, make sure that you refrain from using bad language and false accusations, because you will immediately lose your case. And make sure that you keep it to the point. Don't get caught up in your emotions, because that's one of those things that can get you off, and you'll go off rambling and you won't get it done. And so that is my summary for my week. And thank you so much, all of you ladies who have registered. I also did a workshop, a writer's workshop. 3 ladies were certified, ready to, 4 ladies took the program, and they are on set to be best-selling authors. Of course, I am a best-selling author, Amazon best-selling author for my business book, my 30-day business book. And so I'm just so excited, gearing up for our Christmas party, December the 17th. And I'm so, so excited. And also our toy drive, we're sending toys to Haiti. So we're just doing amazing things. I'm trying to get it all out. And so I'm going to take a quick commercial. And when we come back, we're going to have Dr. Sharon Cradle. So excited. So we're going to go to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Coach Kellie, from the Coach Kellie Speaks Talk Show. I'm here to talk about my brand new book, the 30-Day, 30-Minute Visionary Journal, Awakening the Finisher Within. I wrote this book because I wanted to inspire other people to be finishers in their own personal journey of business and everyday life. So writing this book has really helped me to organize my thoughts a lot better, and has also just made me look at things different and not put so much pressure on myself, because before I would try to compile so much information in at one time, but now it has slowed my pace down a lot, and I'm able to really plan things out in a 30-day, in a 30-minute manner. And so I think that now, you know, with different projects that I'm working on, I feel that I'm a little more confident and what it is that I'm doing because I've actually planned it out better. So I hope that people who get this book will have a deeper appreciation for, number one, who they are, what they've been called to, and the people group that they've been called to as well. I also want people to have a clear and step-by-step guide to how to fight against fear and procrastination. I hope that this book will help you to win in each and every level of your life, each and every area of your life. I want this book to change the way you see yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror, that you won't see yourself through the eyes of fear, but that you'll see yourself through the eyes of faith, knowing that you are a finisher and that you will finish each and every project that you put your hands on. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you, gracias, because without you, I would not be able to do what I do, what I love every day, from styling my clients to the boutique, and now my new show, the Coach Kellie Speaks Talk Show. This has been an exciting journey for me. I'm inspired by each and every last one of your comments, how you share my posts, going on to YouTube, leaving comments, just all of that just warms my heart every time I read it. And so I wanted to just let you know that you can buy my book on my website at www.coachkelliespeaks.net. Thank you again for tuning in, and I love you guys so much. Thanks.
Everyone, and welcome back to the Coach Kellie Speaks Show. I am here live with Dr. Sharon Cradle.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here as an interview guest this time.
Yes.
So thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to our interview.
Yes. So last time you were here, you was a host, standing host for me when I was on vacation. You interviewed your husband. It was just awesome.
Yes, it was a great experience.
You.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so you can tell the audience who you are.
Oh, that's easy. My name is Dr. Sharon Cradle, and I am an author. I am a coach. I'm an educator. I'm a woman of God. I am the host and creator of the Women That Are Great Women Sharpening Women Conference. And I am here today actually to talk about the release of my 2 new books. And I'm excited for the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. And so where do we begin? As you was introducing yourself, all of those different hats that you carry,
yes.
I think that is phenomenal. Doctor, conference host, speaker, educator. You've authored 3 books now,
yes.
Including a fabulous journal, and I think that is just amazing. So tell us what life is like as an author.
Well, it's very interesting. Being an author was never anything that I had on my to-do list. But as life would have it, you don't always understand why, you're doing certain things. I knew that I wanted to get a doctoral degree, didn't know what it was going to do for me in the future. I knew I was going to be an educator, not knowing, those skills that I gained during that time, how it was going to benefit me in the future. And so being an author for me was outside of my comfort zone, to be very honest with you. When I first had the idea to write a book, the journal was very easy because it's some thoughts that I had, some questions that I would take myself through. And once I did that, that was easy because I really wasn't telling a story. But when I wrote my second book, which is called Only in Chicago, A Southside State of Mind. This project took me 3.5 years because I am no storyteller. I deal with facts. I deal with information. But the storytelling part of it, in terms of finding your voice, was a challenge and really, really stretched me as a person, because it's a fiction book that deals with a family who grew up on the south side of Chicago. And so that particular work, every time I read it, I get a little emotional. Okay. And so it really took me to find my voice to tell the story. My second book, my third book actually, Mind Your Mind, #Think About It, that wasn't a difficult book to write because it's similar to the first book, the journal. It has 7 mindset principles that I use to kind of manage myself on a daily basis and manage life, but it also has the capacity for you to write, because I am a proponent of writing. I believe that writing is healing, and it is necessary for us to go inside ourselves and bring out whatever it is we're dealing with, whatever goals we have, and put it in written form so that we can go back and look at it and go on about what God is having us to do.
Wow. So you have 2 books launching at the same time.
I do. And if you think about the titles, both of them deal with the mindset. And I just believe that everything starts in the mind and ends in the mind. And so, as you can see with the titles, one has a South Side state of mind, and then the other one has Mind Your Mind, #Think About It.
Wow.
7 mindset principles, because I believe that if we sometimes just stop and really think about what we're doing and why we do the things that we do, we would be much better off as human beings. And I'm a student of behavior. So both of them are rooted in behavioral principles.
Yeah. And so if you can, just share one of the principles in mastering the state of mind,
yes,
that you would love to share.
Well, you know me. I believe that all 7 are wonderful. But the one I really want to talk about tonight, and I wasn't prepared for that question, so thank you for that question. We often talk about generational curses. And I am of the mindset that when you use the word curse, that means that you, the human being, you don't have any choice in the matter. You can't do something different. And so I changed that to generational challenges, because as a challenge, you have to be aware of it. And there are steps that you can take, that you can do something about whatever the challenge is that you're dealing with. And you can save future generations from some of those challenges. And so I refuse to buy into that whole concept of a curse, because that just says that we as human beings, with God on our side, we don't have any power. And I just struggle with that. And so that's one of the principles, ridding those generational challenges.
I love that.
Yes.
That is awesome. And so where did the inspiration come from in writing that book, that particular book?
Yes. People look at us, you, me, everyone else, and they see us at the age that we are now. And, they look at you as if you've never had a problem. Like you just woke up, and you were just fabulous, Right. But no, there's a lot of work that goes into where we are. And when I think about my life growing up on the south side of Chicago, and, coming out of that, there were a lot of things that I had to think about, right? A lot of things I had to deal with, as I matriculated into adulthood. Some of the behavior, some of the thinking that I brought along with me that wasn't benefiting me. And so as an educator, particularly as a special educator and a trained counselor, I really got into this whole idea about the mindset as it's connected to behaviors. And so that was really the impetus in looking at my own behavior and some of the things that I would, I look back and I'm like horrified, at some of the stuff that I've done, and looking at those things and saying to myself, why would you do that? And, I am also an adjunct professor at Strayer University, and so I know one of the things they're like, here, there's Dr. Cradle again talking about that iceberg theory, because I believe in the iceberg theory. The iceberg theory just simply says that we as human beings often look at the behaviors that we see at the top of the iceberg that you can see, but there's so much lurking underneath that pushes those behaviors up to the surface, and we don't spend time looking underneath the iceberg and understanding it. And so that was another impetus for me writing Mind Your Mind, #think about it.
Yeah. And what made you get to a point of understanding your purpose?
Oh, that's let me tell you, that was just a work in progress, and I would challenge everyone. And one of the things I do talk about in the Mind Your Mind book, as well as in the Only in Chicago book, you have to be observant and aware of every step that you're taking in life, because every step has meaning. Every step is going to take you somewhere down the road, and you have to be very mindful of that. And so for me, I just started looking at, growing up in the inner city, where I came from, the challenges that my family faced, the triumphs, that they overcame. And so I started thinking about it. And to be very honest with you, I run into a lot of women who have not either been married or don't have any children. And they feel like, and rightfully so for some of them, that's their only purpose on earth. And I just had a different mindset about that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't have children. I have never birthed a child, right? And so for me, I was thinking, God created me. He handpicked me to be on this earth at this time. So it has to be something more than just married and having a child, because if that's what he wanted me to do, that's what I would have done. And so I chose to channel my thinking down, okay, what is it that you really want me to do, God? And he started showing me that. And he showed me my work around helping people, encouraging women, motivating women, and being real and having real talk with women about the things that we deal with as women. And so that's how I really got focused in that. And then, of course, I had a major life event that happened that most people probably would have run away from and, put the cover over their head and been ashamed. And for me, I looked at that thing because it didn't make sense to me. I said, okay, God, I got it. He pushed me into my purpose. Wow. Because he knew I was ready. But had I done it my way, I still would have been doing the same thing I was doing. And so when that happened, I knew then, I said, I need to pay attention and really continue to listen to God's voice and do what he's telling me to do. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And those situations that we go through that aren't something that we would necessarily want to share. It wouldn't
Correct.
be, it wouldn't be a pretty Facebook post, if you will.
Absolutely.
Those oftentimes are the signposts, if you will, to catapult us into a new place.
Absolutely.
And it's that's why for me I say, shame is the enemy of purpose.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I walked into it very boldly. And I'm just being very honest. I think I was upset one time, and it was about something that was so crazy. And then God had to prick my heart and was like, I got you. I put you here. And so I'm going to take care of you. And this is what I need you to do. I need you to do something. And I think God gives us that window. And I went full force into doing everything that God has purposed for me to do in that, and it's been 3 years, that 3-year time frame, and I haven't missed a beat. So I don't know what's around the corner, but what I do know is that I am ready. I'm ready and I'm prepared for the next thing.
Yeah, I love it. And so what I was going to say was I attended your conference.
Yes, you
last
did.
Year.
Yes.
I shut my business down, and I came to the conference and I gave it. I mean, like, I was front row, like I want it all. And one of the things that I watched and I witnessed in you is this confidence to lead women.
Yes.
I see that you're confident in your purpose.
Yes.
Were you always that confident as a woman?
I believe that I've always been confident because I've had to do some things, particularly as a young woman, that required confidence. I didn't know that that's what it was called. I was just doing what I thought I needed to do. And yes, I've been confident because people will tell you, that you're nothing, or, they just want to look at you and just say you're just pretty, you just have a pretty face, and that's about all you sum up to be. And so I've always been confident because I've always had to learn, growing up in a family like mine and on the south side of Chicago, you have to have your own mind. And because if you don't, then you will find yourself in situations that could not be beneficial for you. And so I can honestly say that I've been strong and confident most of my life. And I think it's just how God has built me. That's how he designed me to be that way. Now, when I accepted it is a whole different story that we don't necessarily have a lot of time for right now. But I had to accept it, think about it, coming all the way from Chicago to Virginia at 17 years old to attend college as a first-generation college student. Think about that.
Wow.
Never been to the East Coast, didn't know anyone on the East Coast. So that told me a little bit of something about myself. And what God, absolutely. And God, and how God was going to use me, and I didn't know how he was using me at that time. But when I look back over my life, I know that's a cliche, but when I look back over my life, I just see it very clearly in terms of the purpose and building my purpose and making sure that my family, my sisters that came behind me were going to be successful as well. So I had to be successful.
Yeah, because
it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was all easy, but yes, determined.
Yes. I like, that's a good word.
Yes.
And so tell us about Women Thou Art Great conference.
Yes. My Women Thou Art Great conference, that is really, to be very honest with you, the very first thing God spoke into my spirit when my life changed 3 years ago. He was like, you have something, you need to do this. And we as women, we carry a lot. We just do. And we don't always know how great we are. And I always go back to Genesis, when God said that, man can't live on this earth alone. That's pretty powerful to me. That he created a helpmate. It was a female. So that tells you how dynamic we really are. And so the conference really is all about real talk. And it's about women who are pretty successful in life, to be very honest with you, but they're still wearing a mask. They're still not quite sure. They're still not quite whole in who they are because of past relationships and everything. And so I just decided that I'm going to have this conference where we have real talk and I honor women. And let women know that we're not perfect. We strive for excellence. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive others. But we have a work to do on this earth, in my opinion. And we cannot do it until women are healed, until we come together and we just stop doing some of the stuff that we do to each other. So that is really the underlying message for my conference. And it's going to be held on March 24th, 2018. It's the third annual Women Thou Art Great Women Sharpening Women Conference. And this year, one of the things we're going to deal with is the whole topic of women and cancer. I have a pathologist, an oncologist, and a technologist coming, as well as women who are stricken with cancer and some cancer survivors. So it's going to be pretty powerful. Powerful.
That is awesome. So how do we get tickets?
Yes, you can go on eventbrite.com and just look under Women Thou Art Great Women Sharpening Women Conference, March 24th, 2018. Or you can go to my website, or you can see me personally. And my website is drsdc-corporation.org.
That is amazing. That is just amazing. And so where is it hosted this year?
It's going to be at the same location it was last year. It's going to be at the College Park Marriott. conference center and hotel in Hyattsville, Maryland. And when I tell you, I'm all about beauty and creating spaces for women where women can come in and feel special. And that particular space is just absolutely dynamic. So I was so glad that I could get it again for this particular conference.
Yeah, it was a beautiful place.
Yes.
Yeah, the food was good.
Yes, everything.
Everything was just beautiful.
Yes. And I would like to say, I know it's your show, but I would like to say to everyone, Kellie is going to be one of my presenters this year, and I'm so excited. And she's coming from the voice of the millennial, and I just believe that we need that voice to talk about women things and talk about some things that she needs from us as a millennial. So so I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Yes.
It's amazing to me that I forgot that I was a millennial until I think we were having a conversation, and we're looking it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was right there. And I know a lot of times we get a bad name, but we are the next generation that's coming behind, that it will lead the next generation. And so we have our responsibility, and we need the generation before us to make it happen. So it's amazing that you are bridging that gap.
Yes, and we are here to coach and mentor and support one another. And so I'm just doing my little piece on this earth in that particular area as God has purposed me to do. And so I'm so glad you accepted the invitation.
Absolutely. Yes. I was actually honored. I mean, just me being there just last year and me sitting in the audience, and then to even have the opportunity to speak, it's just amazing. So many women. It's a huge room of ladies, and of course, although I have this platform, there's still that reservation sometimes to speak in front of lots of people. But I know that if God in this season has placed it in my heart to do it, and He has been calling me, like you said, He will call you for such a time as this to do something and to be a representation of the millennial voice. And even, just coming up with different branding, I just kept hearing the millennial voice in business.
Correct.
And so I wear it with now the badge of honor, and I'm ready to, do whatever I have to do to empower women and just help the next generation. And so next year, my whole entire focus will be the year of unity.
Yes.
This year was a year of legacy. And so I spent a lot of time on Facebook Lives and just talking about how to leave a legacy, because legacy is something that will outlive you.
Yes.
And so we're building something that we will not be able to enjoy the fulfillment of it.
That's right.
In some cases, but we're leaving the foundation.
Yes.
We're building the foundation that the entire another generation will walk on, and hopefully my grandkids won't have to do all of the hard things that I had to do. And I think that your books, your projects, your conferences, all of those things are sowing into the next generation. And so I salute you. Thank you. Honor you. I see you spending countless times. I don't know if I've ever seen you without your laptop.
I take it everywhere I go, for sure.
Yeah, super duper focused. So what is next for Dr. Sharon Cradle?
Well, let me say this to you. You just really said a mouthful, to be very honest with you. And when I think about my book, Only in Chicago, A Southside State of Mind, people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, it really just means that every family has a state of mind, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to know what your family state of mind is so that you can leave that legacy. Right? Mm-hmm. And so, but you have to, go through the good, the bad, and the ugly to get there, to get to that solid foundation. So what's next for me is I am having 3 book tours. The first one is going to be on December the 10th. It was originally scheduled for December the 2nd, and there was a shipping date glitch, and so they're not going to be able to get my books to me until next week, and so I changed the date to December the 10th. And then the next date is January the 6th, where the first date, December the 10th, is going to be held at Mama Stella's restaurant in Clinton, Maryland. The second date, and all of this is on my website, January the 6th, at Strayer University in Alexandria, Virginia. And then the final date, February 11th, is going to be at my home church, New Chapel Baptist Church in Temple Hills, Maryland. And so those things are next, and whatever God has for me, I've just learned to just go with it because it's right. It's the right thing to do, and it's always right for me. So yes.
This was an amazing interview.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for just taking your time out and spending your Monday evening with us. And so how can we reach you one more time?
Yes, I can be reached on Facebook, Sharon Cradle, SHARRON, Cradle, CREDLE, on Instagram at the Dr. Sharon D. Cradle Corporation, and Twitter at Dr. SDC Core, and my website is www.drsdc-corporation.org.
Oh, all right. So thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so we're going to be right back after this commercial break with Dr. Madiwa Johnson.
Yes.
People give up?
I think people give up because they don't think they're good enough.
So why do you think people give up on their dreams or any part of life?
I think people have a tendency to give up on their hopes and dreams and aspirations due to, some might say, defeat. But in defeat, there's also a lesson to be learned, and I think a lot of times, if we draw on the lessons of defeat, it actually can give you enough fuel to overcome any and everything. But ultimately, it comes down to just feeling sorry for oneself, having self-doubt, and ultimately losing focus and belief in oneself.
So, oftentimes people give up. What do you think the reason is?
I feel like people give up because they're scared to fail. And, failure is like a big reason to why people don't try as hard, or they don't want to see like the end result. So I think that's why people give up.
Thank you. So why do you think people give up on their dreams?
I think people give up because of time and because of listening to other people. They think because if you want to be a singer, you can't make it in that business, so it's really, really hard. Or even when you get older, after a certain age, as a kid, you're in high school, so you have all these big dreams, big imagination, and you're like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. And then you get even older, you're in college, you're like, well, I can do this, but I can make more money in this. And then you're like, okay, well, I kind of got to change it. I like this, but I'm going to take a little bit out of it and try my hardest to make some money. And then you get even older and you're like, I just need to make a living. So then you kind of give up because you need to survive. You need to make a living. You need to help your family. And now you have a family. Now you have a house or an apartment or something like that, and you have no money. So it's harder to say, well, I got to chase my dream, but do I eat first? It's a little different. And you listen to everybody else. Everybody's telling you no, and you take it and you run with it, and you're like, well, maybe it's just not for me. No, it wasn't for them. It's just a little harder, but that doesn't mean stop.
Hello and welcome back to the Coach Kellie Speak Show. I am live with my very special guest, Madiwa Johnson.
Hello.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of the Coach Kellie Speak Show. I'm so honored. I mean, I've known you for quite a long time, and just seeing how God has developed you into this amazing woman of God, and you give and you sow, and I see you may spend the night sometimes serving and helping others. And so I'm just honored to see you writing a book and just jumping out there, and I just think that is amazing. I just wanted to start there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I know I talked about you already, but if you can turn to our camera and just tell us about yourself.
Well, I am Mudiwa Johnson, but go by Mudiwa Noel. I'm an educator. I've been in education for over a decade. I started out really just on this journey and finding myself at a young age, and it just kind of matured over a period of time. So currently I've just written my first book that drops December 2nd. It's called The Material Girl. It's a self-help memoir that's based upon my life and some things that I've learned through growth and maturity and just moving and having experiences. And so I decided to write a book just because I serve so many youth in education, and I find out that they always are kind of lost or misdirected, and I once too was that lost and misdirected child. So I just really wanted to put some information out there to get it in their hands. I never thought I would write a book. Let me start there. So it's possible for anybody to write a book, because I never thought I would write a book because I was never a big reader. I didn't, I was into being the fun, popular girl in school. I never really wanted to do a whole bunch of reading or writing, but have it as it may, I have written a book, and it really is based upon me being an educator and learning and finding out that students need, or young adults, I should say, because I always call them students, young adults need guidance and help. And even though they sometimes act like they don't or they don't want it, it's really something that they need. In this generation, especially with the popcorn world we live in, where things seem like they're just happening overnight, you find out that there's a process to everything. And trying to teach them that process does not always just happen all of a sudden, that you may see something, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. Was something important for me to try to get out and talk about, just the way that they see things and the materialistic things that they're so drawn into. So that's just a little background about this book and why I kind of wrote the book.
Yeah, and so that's cool. And so what is your goal for the book, and where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. So the book, I want people to understand that it's not always what you see is what you get. There's so much more to people than just their external appearance. And so the book started out as me having something traumatic happened to me that I had to really make a life or death decision. And when I made that decision, it altered my whole perspective, because when I was in the process of trying to make a decision, I'm not going to give away the book, so you got to get the book to figure out what it was. That's my plug. So in the process of me making that decision, I realized that I was empty. I had no substance, and everything that I identified with, I actually was based upon things. It was based upon who I was associated with, who I was around, the people that I was around. So I really realized that at the end of the day, I was missing a lot of things. And so I really went to seek out purpose. I was like, okay, well, why am I here? Because if I was born for a reason. And so like the other young lady was talking about purpose, and I could connect with that point, because you never want to go through life and not know who you are or why you're here. I think a lot of people lose sight of having drive or ambition because they don't know what their purpose is. And I think that at a young age, I was lucky enough. It was a misfortunate situation, but it became a fortunate situation to really wake up and say, okay, I want more for myself. Like, this can't be it for me. This can't be the end of my road. This can't be where I'm headed. And so I made a decision to want more. So I just want to empower somebody else to want more. I want to empower somebody else to see that there's more to life than just what they see, that everything doesn't happen overnight, that they have to build their self, they have to build character, because the one thing that I learned is that people who have character or who have things internally that you don't see, if everything crashes and burns, they can still rebuild. Those who had nothing to begin with normally are left by themselves. And I think that principle people forget a lot of the times, because they don't realize that it's more to life than just what you see.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that in a few years that message can get out to more people, and more people can really start looking in the mirror versus looking around them.
Yeah. So what do you think is the hardest thing that millennials face in just 2017?
Social media. Man, social media is like crippling and rewarding all at the same time. Like this whole like Facebook Live, and I mean, this is a process for me. Like, I like to socialize, but I like one-on-one interaction with people. I don't like to be behind a phone or behind a screen. It's kind of hard for me to get that interaction with a person. So for me, I like the one-on-one contact. But this world is so, I mean, you can reach somebody in a second. It's just like, I think that social media has really crippled us to remove people from a situation. And it changes dynamics when you don't have interactions with people. And so it gives you a false sense of reality. I think a lot of millennials don't realize that it's really hard work to make something of yourself, and they see something and they assume that it just happened overnight. And that's really a fake. Like, it's not real. It's just really not real. Like, anybody that has anything, some people may have, luck and, stumbled upon something, got hit the lottery, whatever. I wasn't one of them, so I can't attest to that. But those who have, it's like, most haven't. And so it's like, well, where do we go from this place? Like, where do we go from here? So it's kind of hard to, like, push these students when all they see is things that just seem glorified.
So what's the most crippling thing that you see amongst your students?
Oh gosh. They have no drive or ambition. Like, most of them, I teach business and finance, which is not common in schools. And so I actually teach a lesson on goal setting and basically decision making, because as an educator, I'm there to teach my curriculum, of course, but it's more for me, my kids get an understanding of who they are before they walk out of my classroom. So teaching them how to set goals, most of them don't even know what a goal is.
Okay.
I mean, and it's like weird, like, you as an adult understand the principle of setting goals, but a lot of these students or millennials, or they're actually Generation X, I want to say they call, they have no clue on setting goals or what it means to accomplish a goal. And so one of the biggest things I see that is crippling for them is that they are not realistic. They have no understanding of really what life is about. And because they don't have that one-on-one interaction with people, they see a lot of things from behind the scenes, or they see it over a phone, or they do it, and they just don't realize that it's real life after that.
Yeah.
Like, social, what's the reality TV is not always reality.
Right.
And it's not everybody's reality.
Even after the reality shows, I think that, it really, I mean, I know for myself, me watching them, I feel like I immediately can take on that mindset, because again, when we're watching the TV, we're watching reality shows, people are glorifying themselves as being like the second girlfriend to someone, and seeing them kind of come up in that area. So what do you tell, because I know you also work with teens, what do you tell them about, just posting? And because see it now, it's like so
I tell them that I actually do something where they know that you can't. I do a little it's a cyber bullying type of lesson, and I am big on incorporating real world situations to my students. Luckily, I have the opportunity, because I teach business and finance, I can kind of play with my curriculum. But even still, I teach them about cyber, like the cyber security or the cyber world is not a secret, and it's not close-knit. Like, once you put it out there, you can't take it back. Right. You can't, it's out there forever. And even when we see people like the whole Kim Kardashian, the whole China, all of those different people who, had these different tapes that leaked, they never go away. So when their children become old enough, they can probably find some of that stuff. It's like, do you realize how even you make those bad mistakes or those decisions in your life, and you look back and like, dang, I wish I could have done that over. But I had the opportunity to say that when nobody knows what I did. It's not like that once you put it on social media.
No, it's
you
not.
always have it in your face. It's always there. It never goes away. And so I tell them, like, you have to be mindful of that. Once you put it out there, you can never get rid of it. So if it's something you don't want your kids to see or your kids' kids to see, don't put it out there. Yeah. Be mindful of that because you cannot take it back.
Yeah. And I was actually reading a stat, and it says that the average child, I guess between the age of 14 and 16, they struggle with low self-esteem, suicide, and peer pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Peer pressure is a big thing. I talk to kids all the time. I'm like, so why did you do that? And why did you think that that was necessary to do it? And a lot of times they don't even know the answer. Well, because that just was fun, or that's something we wanted to do. And it's like, well, what was the purpose? What did you accomplish from that? And so I think in light of having, crippled by social media, they have no understanding of purpose. And like what I said, for me, when I opened my eyes and I was like, wait, who am I? I don't know who I am. How do I associate with everything else? I associate with clothes. I associate with shoes. I associate with my friends. But I don't have an identity of my own. Who is Madiwa? And so I think they don't know who they are. And so because they identify with other things, but when those other things don't sustain them or don't validate them, then where are they?
So how did you, I know you say you didn't know who you were. So what was the process of, did you wake up one day and said, hey, hi you? What was that journey? Or in your book, you said you talked about that. Yes. So what's one of those things that you could say even to some of the parents that are out there watching, that they may be watching their child go through identity crisis? Like, what did you do that you can even say to a parent to help them understand?
Consistently talk to your kids. Be honest. I think parents, and this is the one thing I talk about in my book, is that my parents were not always as transparent as they thought they were. Mm-hmm. Like, I had a lot of questions. I was the question child. I was like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And I think when you shun your kids at a young age to not ask those questions, they then seek out the answers for themselves. And so, but it may not be the true answer because, again, they're getting the answers from their friends. And they have no clue. Mm-hmm, so it's like a cycle of just clueless people trying to go to each other like, hey, what's this? Oh no, okay, what's that? So it's like a revolving door of just cluelessness. And so I think the advice that I would give the parents is talk to your kids. Never shun them when they tell you the truth about something, even though you may not like it. Even though the truth may hurt, even though it may make you uncomfortable, find a way to push through those heavy, hard conversations. I have so many conversations with young girls about sex. And their parents don't have these conversations.
And they're open to talk to you.
They will talk to me about stuff that I'm like, whoa, wait a minute now. I don't want to talk about that. It's just too much information. You're making me uncomfortable. But when I say they are willing to talk because they really want answers. They in their own right think they know everything. But you have to understand that that's a teenager. That's the young adults. And even past just like teenagers, even when you go into, I think I deal a lot with teenagers because that's my job. But when you cross that threshold and once you leave high school, I found out I still stay in communication with a lot of my old students. And that point where they leave high school into that point where they become young adults is that biggest transition period where they really need support. Okay. And they need people to help guide them. So I think having those tough conversations, being honest with them, showing them versus just telling them, because adults or parents like to just tell them what to do and not show them what to do. You can't be an example with just words. You have to actually have actions behind it. So I think that is one of the things, if I could give a parent some advice about how to deal with their children or teenagers or young adults, that's what I would mainly say.
Yeah. And so for the girl that is in the bookstore and she's looking for a book and she see your book, to you, when you wrote this book, what did that reader look like for you? Like, what is your target audience that you want to, because I'm looking at your cover, we have it on the screen, and so if I was a kid, I would want to pick it up, but what age group did you see for your readers?
Between the ages of about 17 to about 25, 30.
Okay.
And I identify with that age because that's really, my readers is me. You know, not necessarily has to be a woman or a young girl, but just someone who can connect with the feeling of needing direction and needing some answers. And I feel like I have some answers to give them, to help them through an area of their life that may seem hard. And I think we all go through a point in time in life where we feel like we're stuck, we're confused, we're lost, we need help, we need guidance, and we don't always want to go to people to get those answers or that support. So sometimes you just want to figure it out by yourself. And so sometimes you have to do a soul searching type of situation where it could be read a book or you know, listen to other people. And I think my book looks like my readers or my clientele looks like me at that age, the person who I'm actually the book is a series from the time I'm 17 to really up until today. Like, I even, you know, the last edits was still adding stuff to reflect on some of the things that were going on for me at the age of 33. And so my readers is just someone who can relate to having a period of life where they're just trying to figure things out. They're trying to learn new things. They're entering into a new area in their life where they're trying to mature and become a better person and try to find out their purpose, because everybody needs to understand that they weren't just created to take up air. Mm-hmm. They weren't created just to eat and sleep. They were created for a purpose. And so what that purpose is, and so that's what I'm hoping that my readers get out of my book.
Yeah. So tell us about December 2nd.
Okay. So December 2nd is my birthday first, but it's also the birth of my book. So I thought that was just fitting to have it on the same day. So my book release is officially on December the 2nd. It will be at Galaxy 5000 showroom, which is 1002 Florida Avenue in Washington, D.C., Northeast Washington, D.C. You can get information on Eventbrite. If you go to Eventbrite, type in The Material Girl. You can actually RSVP for a ticket. It's free. It doesn't cost anything to come. Or you can do a pre-order for a book on the Eventbrite website as well. You can also see me at go to www.mudiwanoel.com. You can also follow me on Mudiwa Noel on Instagram and at Mudiwa Noel on Snapchat and on Facebook at Mudiwa Johnson.
Awesome. So thank you so much for just being a part of this, and I'm so excited about December 2nd, your birthday,
Yes.
the birth of your book and launching, and it's truly, I just think in this season right now, we are on to something. It's just, I'm just excited. I'm just super duper excited. So thank you so much for being one of my guests, and we'll have to have you come back.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And so I'm going to do a quick recap of just the show and just talk a little bit about, you know, what it is that we're doing with the PK Girls Pushing to Purpose movement. We are having our annual toy drive and Christmas party, closing out 2017, just recapping on everything that we've done. From the Pushing to Purpose Girls Night Out we've been having, Wives Night Out. Just make sure that you register on Eventbrite, Pushing to Purpose Empowering Christmas Party, December the 17th. It's on a Sunday. And make sure you bring a gift. You can also drop your gifts off to Successful Looks Boutique, 6500 Old Branch Avenue. Suite B in Camp Springs, Maryland. We're also planning to have another author showcase and workshop December the 7th at 3 p.m. Same location. So if you go into our Eventbrite, you'll get a chance to see all of our amazing events. You can Google Pushing to Purpose Empowering Events. We're going to have celebrity chef Lord Rachel Divine. Raquel, you threw me off. I know you threw me off. I'm sorry. Raquel, I know her. I saw her Sunday. I know her for like forever. So please forgive me. So Raquel Divine, she will be there. She's been featured on Rachel Ray. so many local news channel, Channel 9, Channel 5. So she is pop. She's going to be there doing some demos. We'll get a chance to get her food. I'm so excited. So she's cooking it up for us. Cooking it up for us with Raquel Devine. And so thank you so much for viewing, and we'll see you next week on the Coach Kellie Speaks Show.